Tuesday.
Okay. We'll call this meeting of December 4th, 2018 Planning Board to order. We will need to establish voting members tonight, and Christopher will make you a voting member tonight.
Fantastic.
All in favor for that? Can I have a motion?
Make a
Second?
motion.
Okay. All in favor? That's
There we go.
Any additions or deletions to the agenda?
We do have one item, I think it was sent out to you guys. It is to approve your meeting schedule for next year, because specifically your next meeting will be in conflict with New Year's Day. So you should have gotten it emailed. If you didn't, I've got a paper copy that I can give to you. That is the one that the schedule is. So there's a conflict with the meeting in January, which we recommend that you consider the second Tuesday in January. And then there's a conflict in September because of the Board of Commissioners meeting. Same thing. I think we recommend that you go to the second Tuesday for that meeting. It's the board's choice. We're just giving you a recommendation. Y'all choose whatever you want to do. We recommend that you go ahead and adopt your meeting schedule, so that way we've got it taken care of.
Got a question. Could there be a possibility of meeting on the second Wednesday?
We could, and again, this is a board meeting, so you certainly could choose whatever works for you.
On those two, I
Absolutely.
have another thing I'm obligated to.
You certainly could make that
Or-
request, as long as the board as a whole is okay with that, we're fine.
Okay. It shows here then our January 1st meeting would, that they have on the schedule, we could be the second Wednesday of January. What's that
I
day?
believe would be the 9th, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. So we'd be January 9. And then September would be then, I'll say February the 5th, March the 5th, April the 1st, May the 7th, June the 4th, July the 2nd, August the 6th, and then it would be the 11th,
That is correct. the 11th.
September the 11th, okay. And then October the 1st, November the 5th, and December the 3rd. Do I have a motion to approve that schedule
So moved.
for 2019? Can I have a second? Okay. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Yeah. So Patrick made the motion, and it's a toss-up between Lou and Patrick.
He can have it.
I know his name on the line, I said Patrick, Christopher.
And the September was 11th.
11, yeah, because that's the second one. Okay, thank you for that, I appreciate that.
Okay. Now we have approval of the minutes for November the 13th meeting.
Excuse me, Chairman, actually do need to approve the agenda as a whole. That was,
Okay.
that was an addition to it. If you could just make a motion to approve the agenda, we'll go as a whole.
All right, we need a motion to approve the agenda as a whole.
I'll motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
There we go. All in favor?
All right.
All right, there we go.
Okay, now approval of the minutes from the November 13th, 2018 meeting.
Okay, Rusty, point of order here. Oh, we didn't have a problem. Since I wasn't here, I can hardly approve the minutes because I wasn't here. They're correct.
Okay.
Will 3 people be able to handle this?
Well, I think it's one of those situations where even though you're not present, technically you can still vote. I know it's a matter of, well, I wasn't here, but you are part of the quorum, so if you choose to vote, you can. If you choose to ask to be recused, you can ask to be recused as well, if you like. It's really up to you.
If I recuse, then you can't do it, right?
No, not necessarily. We still have a quorum.
Okay.
So three members, I think, would actually, isn't that correct? Does that make sense?
Depends on the board rules of procedure.
I tell you what, I'll if you'll let me vote and nobody's gonna say, think I'm gonna shoot him, I'll vote. Okay?
I mean, or you could defer action and we just, approve them at a later
No,
date.
that's,
Whichever y'all feel comfortable.
I was just worried about a technicality. If there's nothing to worry about, make a motion, someone.
Okay, I have a motion for,
I make a motion
Okay,
to accept the
have a
November
second?
13th minutes.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Number 6 is that CZ 2018-008 Sheriff's Office Regional Training Facility. Okay, Lee, you got a presentation?
Yes, sir.
Bring up the GIS map. This is the property in question. So this is a request, rezoning request that will amend the Union County zoning map to rezone the property from its current zoning district of RA 40, which is a residential agricultural 40,000 square foot minimum lot size, to a RA 200 conditional district. RA 200 is, again, it's residential agricultural 200,000 square foot minimum lot size. If approved, this will allow the Sheriff's Office to develop a regional training facility for use by the Sheriff's Office and other law enforcement agencies. Some of the major components of the training facility include an indoor shooting range, a canine area, driving pad, an outdoor rifle range, a shoot house, and an outdoor fitness area. And I think you guys had a conceptual level plan in your agenda packets, and I'll kind of go over that, show you where some of those major components are in just a minute. The owner of the property is Union County. They're also the applicant, specifically the Sheriff's Office. Property is located at 1424 Mills Harris Road. Parcel ID is 02202008, and the property is the one that's highlighted in red here. That's kind of hard to see. Yeah, if you don't mind adjusting those a little bit. Some of the folks in the audience might not be able to see that outline. Yeah, thank you. Got a few photographs of the property in question. This is the entrance along Mills Harris Road. This is looking north, Mills Harris at the entrance. This is I think this sign is actually complete now. I think it says Sheriff's Office Training Facility. At the time I took the picture, it was not complete. Again, this is kind of looking into the facility. This metal building here is the existing indoor range facility that's used by the Sheriff's Office. Again, this is looking inside the facility from Mills Harris Road. This is another shot looking away. The indoor facility would be to your left. This would be looking over toward where the canine area and even further over where the future driving pad is planned. This is looking south along Mills Harris Road back toward Wingate. Unfortunately, I don't think I have a shot across the street, but across the street from the entrance, there's it looks a lot like some of the other pictures. It's very rural. There's one or two houses over there, but again, a very rural landscape. Parcel is currently zoned RA 40, and right now it's mostly vacant, except for an indoor shooting range used exclusively right now by the Union County Sheriff's Department. Surrounding land uses, and again, you can see from this map, it's mainly a mix of residential and agricultural. The immediate adjacent properties are very low density residential and a lot of agricultural activity. The vast majority of the area is served by wells and septic systems. There is some scattered water throughout the area, but again, since it's rural Union County, there's a lot of well and septic. And this property has been zoned RA 40 since the county established zoning back in the early to mid 70s. As far as the comp plan goes, look at that slide. slide pulled up. This is the comp plan. The green area is agricultural, and the yellow is single-family residential. It's a little bit off here because it tends to follow some of the ridge lines instead of the roads, but you could almost sort of use this Mills Harris Road as the dividing line. The main difference between the single-family and the ag is the single-family anticipates development at approximately 1 unit per acre. The ag, that's still the same residential density, but a lot of the agricultural area, some of the language in the plan talks about preserving farmland for the area. As far as development potential, they're really about the same. When you look at what might happen in terms of residential development, they're both approximately 1 unit per acre. It's primarily RA40 is what you're going to find in both of these areas in the eastern part of Union County. This orange area down here is mixed residential. We generally anticipate higher densities in those areas. These are primarily adjacent to existing towns that have water and sewer. The town of Wingate is just to the south. Actually, part of their ETJ spills over onto this map. There's water and sewer down in this area down here. In fact, these subdivisions here are on, I think they're on Wingate water and sewer, but they have access to water and sewer. The type of use that they've petitioned for is allowed in the RA 200 district. So that's why when the Sheriff's Office came and met with us about what they wanted to do, that's why we recommended the RA 200. They had a mix of uses that really lended itself to two of the zoning district categories we had. One was a master plan development district, and one was the RA 200. And actually, as staff, we sort of recommended. We thought the RA 200 fit the land use plan better in terms of what they wanted to do on the property. The property, as far as our comments go, the property does lie inside the agricultural area, and those areas should generally be reserved for agricultural and low-density residential land uses, with some institutional, commercial, and governmental uses are appropriate. This request will allow a much-needed regional facility where law enforcement agencies can conduct training. The development on the site should not detract from the overall rural feel in the whole area. Let me go and pull up the concept plan. I think I failed to go over that. This is a concept plan that the Sheriff's Office submitted. It's Mills Harris Road. This is the access road that you saw in the pictures. This is the existing building that's there that the Sheriff's Office used for their indoor range. And over here is kind of the key. There's their indoor range. So you've got a couple of primary areas of activity. You've got one sort of on the north side and then one on the south side. The north side, you've got the indoor range and a canine area and a kind of an outdoor fitness area for officers to go and do physical fitness. And then a few over there. They have a shoot house, a shelter for outdoor training type exercises, a canine area, which I think I mentioned previously, and then a future training building, which is here. Then over on the south side of the property, you have a driving pad and a vehicle, a training vehicle maintenance. And the driving pad is what it sounds like. It's for teaching officers to driving skills for pursuit, things like that. And I'm sure these guys at the Sheriff's Office are probably going to get up and talk a little bit more in detail about that. And then the area 13 here, the training vehicle maintenance, that is specifically for maintenance of vehicles used in that training. So it's no other type of vehicle maintenance that will take place. And one last thing that I'll point out, our ordinance allows Union County uses that the county wants to do in any zoning district. The reason this is coming before you as a rezoning, is because they want to open this up to primarily other law enforcement agencies. If this were only going to be used by the Union County Sheriff's Office employees, we wouldn't be here. This would be a by right approval under RA 40. They could build everything you see on this plan. The real reason that we're here is because they want to provide a space for other law enforcement agencies, such as I guess the city of Monroe, maybe Cabarrus County, could be state, federal, but for other law enforcement agencies to come and use this facility because it's needed. So if anybody on the board has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I think the applicant's here. They'll probably have a short presentation.
Actually, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I was concerned as to whether we would allow our smaller departments to use it, the SDL1 inflatable, but when you speak of other departments, if the feds come use our facility, our tax dollars billed, would they not be charged?
That'd be a question for the sheriff's office. We
I
can't.
wouldn't want to charge Waxhaw, but I wouldn't want to charge the feds, and I wouldn't want to charge the state.
I can answer. We probably would not. The reason is we have a relationship. Let me just say this. We use it so much now, we're growing so fast. Those opportunities for other agencies to use it are going to be seldom. If we allow the municipalities just in Union County to use it plus us, we really probably not going to have a lot of time in the scheduling for other agencies to come in. We were talking mainly about the SBI, which they work here. You know, the highway patrol, which works in this area. They don't have a training facility. I was a federal agent. I would retire. They would pay, but we have a relationship through the asset forfeiture program with them, that if we work in joint cases, they seize money, they give us money back through the asset forfeiture program. So if we did open it up to them, it'd be with those federal agencies that we already have a relationship with.
Okay, thank you.
Can you state your name?
I'm Todd Elmore. I'm the chief deputy with the
Yeah,
sheriff's
I know who you are, but the camera doesn't.
Oh, no, I know.
Thanks, Todd. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Turn the lights, can you turn the light back on?
Now I want to use that map a little bit right there, if y'all want to, however you want to do it. There you go. As I stated, I'm Todd Elmore, I'm the chief deputy. I've sort of been the go-to guy on the planning of this range after the initial firing range was built on number 1 over there. It's an $8 million indoor firing range. It has a 100-yard shooting capacity. It's 14 lanes. It was designed by the architects to reduce the noise and reduce the environmental impact on the land. All the lead inside that range, there's a elaborate system that is a filtered system. So all the lead that's shot is filtered out and dumped into a filter. We pay a company to come clean those filters out. So it's it's a hazardous material, so we pay a lot of money to get that taken care of, which protects the people using the range and also protects the outdoor area. So we consider it an environmentally friendly firing range, which there's not too many of them in the state of North Carolina, so we're very blessed to have that. As far as the expansion, what we're talking about expanding to, hopefully in July we'll have an outdoor shoot house, but it's not outdoor. It's a confined building where you can do live firing, like going through a house, but it has a roof, and our architects guarantee us no rounds can leave that facility. And then I'm looking at this, number 3 over there is an outdoor arbor. And we really do that so we can have just a place to come, sort of portray that we're outside, but give us a shelter in case of weather. And so we're going to utilize that, and hopefully those 2 things will start construction this summer. The other one, number 5, let me look real fast. No, number 4 through 7, that's going to be our temporary classrooms. We acquired 4 temporary classrooms from the school system, and we're going to set that up. So we're moving all of our training from the sheriff's office out to this facility because we do have a classroom on the property of the sheriff's office. So all our training will be out there. Hopefully, number 4, 6, 7, and 5 will eventually be number 10, which is a permanent training building. And that's down the road for the planning. I'm going to go over, number 9 is the K-9 area. Basically, that's a fenced-in, about 2-acre lot that it's a rural farm type of fence. And our K-9 officers go out there and do the obstacle course with the K-9s. Number 11 and 13 would be a combination. It's a driving pad. Basically, it's asphalt or concrete. It would be opened up. This is where the zoning gets a little, you know, where we're talking about, we'd like to open that up to the local fire departments, to Union County, to the transportation, to the schools, so we all have driving, because everybody drives. It's high liability, and hopefully through the driving pad, we'd eliminate some of the liability for the sheriff's office and the rest of the county. We've spoken to the fire departments. It's a need of theirs. They have a little facility in Monroe, but there's no area to expand so they could do their driving. And then number 14, that's just an outdoor fitness area, which consists of just basically a football field. We're going to just have a field so we can go do our, what they call the basic fitness test for law enforcement every year. And then there'll be a little running pad on the outline of the north quarter, about 16, I think it's about 16 acres. And we'll have about a mile fitness path, about 4 foot wide. It'd be nice so we can run out there. But as far as number 12 goes, we put it on there, an outdoor firing range. I don't anticipate that happening in my tenure or my lifetime, because it's very expensive to build with the EPA regulation, the outdoor rifle range. It's about impossible to build it with the requirements anymore. So I'm not concerned about that. I think that's many, many years down the road that they would have to pay for that, and it'd be a multi-million-dollar project. So that's pretty much sums up. As far as the Woodlands Ops area that's on here, you have to cross a creek, cost a lot of money to build a bridge, and we're not going to pay that much money to build a bridge. So if our special response team goes out, it'll be very seldom. There won't be any live fire. It'll be just to teach them how to operate in the wood environment on the backside. And that's pretty much the plans for the firing range. And I'm open for questions.
What's the total build-out cost? Do you know? Just ballpark.
It's probably still in the planning. We paid an architect for phase 2, and I think that's the 1.7 million estimated for the shoot house, the arbor, and then the K-9 field's already built. The firing range was 8 million. We don't have an estimate on the other one. We were waiting to get to phase 2, which is starting. Then we'll start phase 3, and we think phase 3 will be the driving range. And I'm actually supposed to start meeting with the architect after the first of the year to start that process. So estimations, I mean, if you're shooting, buildings are expensive. If you're not shooting, they're probably comparable to any other commercial building. Yes, sir.
Like one of them, on your rifle range, from looking at the schematic here, obviously the fire would be north to south because of all.
Say which one now?
The rifle range, number 12.
Number 12?
Yeah, the firing, I imagine would be north to south, considering everything that's heading north of the range.
Yeah, it would.
But last of my recollection was, and it's been a few years, there is no standard for the building of a rifle range and how high the berm must be. And other places have been using what the military uses as their standard, but there is no regulation. Is that, am I correct?
According to our architect out of, I think they're out of DC or Virginia, they build rifle ranges. They explained that it would be costly because where the bullets end up at the trap, you still have to collect all that lead.
Okay.
So when they said that each pod, if you had a rifle range, if it's 100 yards, 200 yards, it had to be some type of configuration that the lead could not leave that area. So when I asked him, and he's a good guy, he does all the time, he said, oh, millions of dollars to build that type of range. So that's why we went out there.
Piling up dirt and shooting at it.
Yeah, those days of pushing up.
Time changed from my day.
Yeah, the
right.
days of pushing up a berm, which we thought, you know, they said those are done. You can't do that anymore. So
No sawhorses and Coke cans anymore?
What's that out?
No sawhorses and Coke cans?
No more of those.
We were at CPCC the other night at a meeting,
Mhm.
and one of the departments was having a driving thing there in the back of their parking lot.
That, if you're talking SPCC
Yeah.
here, yeah, that's our basic law enforcement
Okay.
training. They do it out there. It's very dangerous because public
That's
have
all.
access to it. So they
That's
do a
all.
good job with what they can do.
Yeah, but I thought that was, what you're doing here is a whole lot safer.
A lot safer,
than there.
a lot safer
because
than doing
there
it
was
at
a lot of
SPCC.
people walking around.
Yes, it
And I
is.
thought, wow. that
Very
was-
dangerous.
Yeah.
Your driving pad, that's like defensive driving, pit maneuvers, things like that?
Pit maneuvers, defensive driving, pursuit driving. So if you've ever heard of the Highway Patrol and ever seen the Highway Patrol driving facility, it'd be something similar to that. So there'd be a configuration of a road that would go out a little bit so you could do your pursuit driving.
And these are during, like, daytime hours and stuff like that?
Yeah, we did,
Basically.
we're very blessed that one of our current training staff was the commandant of the Highway Patrol training facility before he retired. So most of it's done during the day, some is done at night. But our rule of thumb is, I think, Sheriff, we've all agreed that 2 hours after sunset, no training at the training facility. And especially during the school year. The sheriff loves to be a good neighbor. He knows the kids need to go to sleep. And some things that cause noise, he said 2 hours after sunset, we're done.
Right. Being that it's close to the residential's, I know one that says Meldon residence, has there been any pushback about doing stuff like that?
Now, we've had our meetings, we actually had a open house when we first opened, invited all the neighbors, and we hadn't heard any complaints. Since then, actually, one of our lieutenants lives closer to the range than anyone, and he has 3 young kids, and he said, you can hear, a little pop from his house, but nothing that would, once you're inside the house, you can't hear anything. So the answer is, we hadn't heard any complaints.
You have some folks here, so they may want to speak. But we're not aware that there have been any major concerns that have been at this time.
The primary issues that were raised, and this was in the, I think this letter is included in your packet, the summary of the community meeting. The major issues that were raised were, there's a question about what it calls on property taxes go up. There's, some people asked about traffic, there being an increase in traffic. They asked if the range met the current range met the sheriff's office expectations. I think the answer to that was yes. There was some discussion about the outdoor range, and I think that was discussed a little bit at the meeting. Some residents brought up the concept of maybe a notification system. And I know we talked about possibly using the code red in the county. And then I think the biggest concern that was brought up was would it impact their property value? So those are the primary concerns. Yeah. And just for your information, the category that this falls under the ordinance, if you're looking at it, our ordinance says if this was just Union County, it would fall under governmental service, but since they're expanding it, it falls under the major, kind of 2 categories, major outdoor sports and recreation participants. We look at a lot of these uses, they are sports and recreation type uses. You have a driving pad, fitness facility, things like that. And then you have a specific category in outdoor shooting range, which would be that rifle range. The indoor would fall under the major. Both of those are special uses under the RA 200, but our ordinance says if you do a conditional rezoning and those uses are listed on the application and the Board of Commissioners approves that, you don't have to go through the special use permit process, because the board has already said these uses apply.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, thank you.
Any the other guys want to speak? Okay. Anybody else in the audience want to speak? For or against?
We'd love to hear from you. If you got it.
Okay.
I missed the other meeting. I'm still studying.
Okay, all right, okay.
Okay. All right.
The board's happy.
Well, do we have a motion with regard to the Sheriff's Office Regional Training Facility?
I make a motion that we
She's got it.
approve these.
Hold on.
Okay, we have a question.
All are gonna vote on this and it's gonna be approved or denied tonight?
Well-
This is just a recommendation, so this goes to the county commissioners, they will hold an official public hearing. Adjacent property owners will be sent a notice of that meeting date. It'll also be posted in the paper as well.
Be advertised in the paper, and we'll send out the notifications to the same folks that got notification for this meeting and for that meeting. So I think that might have been a little bit more than the adjacent, but,
The same,
it'll
they'll
take
take
folks. So if you got a notice for this meeting, you'll get one for the public hearing.
If you have questions.
The commissioners allow public comment, and then depending on the outcome of public comment, sometimes they'll vote on it that very night, and sometimes they'll wait until their second meeting to vote on it. Because if there's public concern, sometimes they want to try and address those concerns. So this is a recommendation, a decision will be made by a different board at another time.
And will likely be that that public hearing will be at the January meeting of the Board of Commissioners. So that'd be the first Monday in January, which is January 7th.
Whenever that is actually determined, you will get a notice of that date, but it's expected, that will be the
Do-
And it occurs this time of the evening?
It does,
Yeah.
7 o'clock in this very same room.
Because I know a lot of, it seems, a lot of people that live in our area are elderly people and they're not able to get out.
Oh, okay.
I know they're, they have, like, for instance, I know people that live just right up the road from us would have been here, but they can't see to drive.
Sure.
So, and that seems to be the case, I think, a lot with people that live on our road.
Certainly. It is at the same time. as in this room. Now, that doesn't prevent those individuals from contacting their commissioners separately. They certainly can give them a call, they can email if they email. You have every right to contact the commissioners and prior to the meeting and give them your concerns if you can't give them.
And you're welcome to ask questions tonight if you have a question. We're not trying to hurry. You know, it is,
Well, we were just,
can you come
a lot of
forward?
questions that I think that
I need you to come forward if you don't mind and give us your name and
My
Yes.
name's Melissa Parker, and I guess it's not so much as a question as, I guess, a comment. I know after the meeting, there were several people neighbors that I spoke with that live on our street. One of the ladies, I seen her the very next day, and she was concerned with, is it going to be that we're not, if you're able to build a house now on just 1 acre, is it gonna change the acreage that you're able to build on?
It's only going to change, so what they've requested is just to change the zoning on the tract that they own.
Okay.
So it won't
Okay,
change the zoning
that's,
on
that was
anybody
one of the
else's.
questions. And then one of, I know a big concern that a lot of people on our road have, it is the property values, but also, the traffic concerns. Not just it being it's one thing for it to be, law enforcement, but when you're talking about bringing in, school bus drivers to be trained out, and fire department, it's a lot. And a lot of people that's a big concern for our area out there. We moved out there, I think a lot of people moved out there to be in the country, and I've lived out there about 4 or 5 years, and it's gotten really busy out there. And that is a big concern out there, I think. Levi? What do you guys think?
I'm studying.
Okay. That's, anything, I mean, that's all I know of anybody that around us, that's all they've had to say. And that's the concern at my house, is the traffic and our property values. Mhm.
We don't have any information to tell you that it will have a negative or positive impact on your property values. It's, I think some folks have used anecdotal information that, well, you're actually gonna have law enforcement in your back door.
And that's fine, and that's fine. We love the law enforcement, them being there.
Sure.
We love that. But when you add in
All the other.
then you have other worries, because you have who knows coming out there.
Sure,
You know what I mean?
sure. And I wish I could tell you that we have an answer. but we
Yeah.
don't have an answer.
Yeah. So, and that's a concern.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Can Union County schools and the fire department still come there right now, or only the sheriff's department can use it the way it says?
Correct.
I'm gonna dovetail another question to you gentlemen. In the event that you have a separate group come out and use the facilities, whether it be the driving pad, some of the outdoor fitness areas, will there always be somebody from the sheriff's department on site or staff there?
Yes. Now, I'll address, if you want me to address the first one, as far as the amount of traffic. School bus drivers get trained once a year. Fire truck drivers, once they get trained, I don't think it's a reoccurring training. So what you'll see on that driving pad is mainly the same amount of people for us that would be at the firing range. So I don't think the concern of a lot of people being there every day is a big issue, because it's a one-time training thing. I think for the fire department drivers, they might have some type of annual training, but it's not a daily thing. School bus, I think they train during the summers, and then they're ready to go. And so I don't think if we offer it up to them that there'd be a mass amount of traffic out there that on a daily basis. As far as our current firing range, if another agency comes to fire, our firing, we have, I think 9 firearms instructors. One of them have to be present for another agency to shoot on it. So and that probably hold true for any of the other facilities if they wanted to do. But what would be probably be open more likely to a outside law enforcement agency would be the firing range, because they can go run in their area. They can go train their canines in their area. It'd probably be predominantly the firing range they'd be utilizing.
Thank you.
Now, do we have a motion?
Well, may I make a comment on this, Russ?
Sure.
This lady, I understand your problem about losing your being rural. I moved to Union County 20 years ago. You tell me my accent, I wanted to be a country boy. I'm not anymore. I'm jammed in all traffic, just like I was in a major city. But the second thing I would say to everyone here is I'm watching the growth of this, and I come from a big city filled with crime. I'm watching the tremendous growth Union County has. And this facility is what is going to train our police department to become more sophisticated and better at their job, which is to protect us. And there's always some inconvenience. You know, that's the way it has to be. But when you're facing danger, and one of these guys or one of their associates stands between you and danger and protects you, then those other things mean a little bit less. So I would ask everybody to bear that in mind a bit, that we do need our police department trained very, very well, because this county is still growing like crazy.
And
It's
it
a
wasn't-
balance.
and it wasn't so
Yeah.
much- and it's not so much as the police or the FBI or any, it's more so it's the other agencies, like the school or something like that.
Okay, I understand that.
Any other comments by you? Do we have a motion?
Hang on one second. Todd, when you said they have like on the pad, like argument's sake, the school buses they train, how many school buses would be there in like a day?
I have not had that specific conversation with the school board. They just expressed an interest in using it. I've never seen even where they train, so my understanding is not that many that would be out there. It'd be predominantly during the summer months.
But it'd be like every day, they'd have like maybe 10 buses or something out there.
I think that'd be a lot, but that's just my personal opinion without talking to the school system. As far as the fire trucks, you know, we have, 17 volunteer fire departments, 1 full-time. I think Monroe would probably stick to their training facility. We'd open it up to the other ones. I did talk to some of the West Side volunteer fire departments. They said they don't have a lot of time and they don't want to see their fire trucks on the other side of the county sometimes. So I couldn't see this being we're offering it up. I couldn't imagine it being used as much as on a daily basis. Very infrequent use.
Okay.
Got a motion.
I will move to approve.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Patrick, you did the second.
Okay, motion passes. Now it will come before the commissioners, y'all, and so we gotta do this all. Thank you. Thanks for your efforts, y'all. Merry Christmas to everybody.
That's right, Merry Christmas.
All righty, planning staff report.
The only thing I have is that the US 74 Marshall Corridor Study will go before the commissioners on the 19th. It's their second meeting in December, for a decision.
17.
That's
17th.
Okay, 17th.
Okay. Any other comments by any of you guys?
No, sir.
Okay, we're adjourned.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Turn all this off here for me. Thank y'all.
Thanks. See you guys.
Hey guys, thank y'all very much.
Take care.
Be safe.